Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we are here to talk about a new collection by Nars, namely the Nars Orgasm on the Beach Cheek Palette. Now, before we get into it, let's just address the elephant in the room. Yes, the elephant in the room that everybody sees, but a lot of people are actually mentioning. Oh my goodness, Nars, you named something else. Orgasm. Ugh. So let's talk about it. I'm actually going to play devil's advocate and stick with that, but let's talk about what the detractors say. I get it. Overkill. They're beating a dead horse. Again, you know, it's kind of funny. Nars uses the word orgasm so much that when somebody uses it now in the original, actual meaning, I think to myself, oh, Nars released something again. It's almost like I associate the word now more with Nars cheek color than I do with the actual meaning of the word, which is kind of funny. And I have said that before on this channel. Some of you have agreed with me. They kind of own the word now. And I do get that it can be overkill. It's like Charlotte Tilbury with Pillow Talk, or I don't know, Urban Decay maybe with All Nighter. There's a million other examples out there. I'll come up with 10 after I film this video, and you guys can below. You know, some of these things where we're just like, we've seen enough of this, please use another name. And the fact that it kind of seems almost an off-color name doesn't really help. You know, I have to sit here and say this stuff out loud. But at any rate, it almost doesn't seem to have that meaning anymore. It just seems to mean a Nars product for the cheeks, right? Let me play devil's advocate, and then we're going to look at swatches and even do a look together. Here is my take on it. I say give Nars a break. The reason they use the term orgasm, how many times will I be saying that? It's like a drinking game. Every time I have to say the word, everybody takes a shot. The reason they use it is there's a product identification. When I say Nars Orgasm, we know it means a peachy, pinky gold. Generally for the cheeks, but we know the shade they mean. It's almost like the name of the shade. So in saying that this is the Nars Orgasm on the Beach cheek palette, they know that we know, and pretty much everybody into makeup, even peripherally into makeup, knows that we are talking about a peachy, pinky gold palette. And you cannot deny that you knew the color scheme when you heard the name. So it does work for them. Nars also are really, I feel, the kings of face and cheek palettes. We all remember, most of us remember the Overlust palette, which is still in heavy use by me and so many that I know. Kind of a similar situation. They just make the most beautiful face palettes, this one being no exception. Now this collection also included a $40 jumbo orgasm blush, which they have done before, minis, jumbos, etc. And I think there was also a little bit of a bronzing product out there, but for me the most interesting was this very fingerprinted, here let me wipe it off, their Orgasm on the Beach cheek palette, which is limited edition. It's $59, I should put that in there, and you get 6 3-gram little pots of pans, I should say, of shades here to use all over the face, really. We have no mattes, so let's take a look at it here. And I'm going to do arm swatches too. We have no mattes. Everything has a little bit of a metallic or a shimmer to it, but there are 6 different shades that you can use, and yes, the famous Orgasm shade is in there. Can you spot it? It is in there in its lovely peachy, pinky goldenness. But for $59, you do get a really nice pan size. Like I said, 3 grams or 0.1 ounces of product in each of those. So that's actually pretty good for $59, keeping in mind that the price is, of course, a high-end makeup. Let's go to the arm swatches and take a look here. On the left, we have that peachy champagne turtle bay. Then next to it, second in, we have Naples, which is a rose gold metallic. Next to Mandalay Bay, third in, which is kind of a satin caramel bronze. And the second 3, which is the last row, shade Montezuma, is the 4th shade over. That is a golden peachy shimmer. There it is, the ever famous Orgasm, next to last. We all know that, peachy pink. And of course, Zuma, which is this gorgeous kind of a rouge satin color and is absolutely lovely. So those are the 6 shades. with their names, as I know the names definitely help you. And of course, it wouldn't be Orgasm on the Beach if it didn't have the original shade in there, of course. So this is supposedly a limited edition, whatever that means these days. I do want to try it on and talk about it, but I want to tell you I do forgive them for using the name. It's a brand identification thing at this point, to be honest with you. So let's go into, I'm going to come back with nothing on my face at all. I want to do a complete look that I have here now, which is the eyes and the cheeks. This is called a cheek palette, but I like to use any kind of face palette on both eyes and cheeks. So let's do that and let's see what we think and some thoughts on this new Nars palette. Okay, so let's create something. I got started, but I'll fill you guys in with what I was doing. Oops, I just wasn't recording. But I didn't get far, so I'll tell you guys what I was doing. But first, let me say, the reason I really have no actual pigmented makeup, really, other than a teeny bit on my face right now, and I mostly just have foundation and a little concealer, is for me, the purpose of a face palette is when it can be used over the entire face, eyes too. And that is what I liked the NARS Overlust for. I used to bring it with me pre-pandemic and just kind of do my whole face with it. There's something about being able to take a cheek color, I have none of that on right now, and run it up into the eyes, even if you're using a different eyeshadow palette, of course, but to be able to connect that makes such a cohesive look on the face. So for me, an ideal face palette is one that works for both and one that has shades that can kind of work on the face and on the eyes. Now, NARS does call this a cheek palette, so they're not mincing their words. They don't call it a face palette. They do call this a cheek palette. But as you see, there are so many shades here that lend themselves to the eyes as well. There are no mattes, it's true, but they have mattes that can, pigmented shades that can work almost like a matte would. Now, what I'm going to make sure to do here is mention the shade names, because a lovely member of our viewing audience out there did tell me when I was casting aside shade names, she did very politely mention that actually the shade names are quite helpful to her. And I bet she speaks for many of you. So I will make sure to always say the shade names or to print them at the bottom of the screen, because I realize that does help when you're making purchasing decisions and application decisions. So we'll make sure to do that. What we missed when I was not recording was something just super simple. I went ahead with this third shade here, which is called Mandalay Bay. And I went in with this darker third shade here just on the crease. I used a Rephr #1, and just on my crease, I just kind of added that in, kind of in circular motions. I'm darkening it here with you guys. I really didn't do too much. And it just kind of acts almost like a matte, and it's a definite transition shade. Then I went into the bottom here with my, no, I'm sorry, not my next to last shade, but my third from last shade, which is called Montezuma. And I went into Montezuma right here, same #1 brush, and just kind of added it onto the lid. That's all we missed before I caught that we were not recording. And then I'm going to take my little pencil brush here and go back into Mandalay Bay and just run it underneath. Because again, all of this will tie the look together. Even if you choose to use this only on the cheek, which is what it's meant for, just running a little bit up even into the crease of one of the shades that you used just makes it so cohesive and pretty. And that's why we do makeup, right? To have it look pretty. I also want to take this little pencil brush here, the #23, and go into my very first champagne-y shade, which is Turtle Bay, and just kind of get it right there into the corner and right up here, kind of under the brow, just to kind of pull that together there too. That's all I want to do. Of course, I'm going to add in eyeliner and mascara in just a moment. Okay, let's take a look here. I kind of want to bronze with this shade, but it's a little bit of a redder brown. And that again is Mandalay Bay. And it's a little bit of a redder brown, but let's give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and suck in my chubby cheeks and see what we come up with. I went very light on it. Let's blend. But I think it works. The question is, what other shades of skin tones would this work for? You guys tell me. I think it would certainly work for a majority, and I know certainly if you're using this for a blusher, it will definitely expand the shade range. In a sense, with me being a light medium right in the middle, I can get away with a little bit more, but I would love to hear some thoughts from you guys out there that are either very fair or very deep complected, and hear what your thoughts are about these shades. NARS usually does a pretty good job with that, and you know, look at this, from Orgasm to these shades here for our fair-skinned friends, and we can go into these darker shades for blushes, and then highlighter for our deeper skin toned viewers. So I think it's going to hit a lot of points for people. Okay, using this exact same, I got all my refers out today, number 5. Let's try this deepest, darkest shade here, which is called Zuma. It's very red, kind of reminds me of the Hourglass at Night a little bit, which is a very deep red shade. Ooh, Aunt Sally. By the way, if your name is Sally, or you have an aunt named Sally, sorry. I'm sure you are lovely, and I'm sure your Aunt Sally is lovely. So I should change that. Suggestions below, please. Aunt Sally is a term I got actually from Charlotte Tilbury, trying to describe that your aunt who comes over and just pinches your cheeks and wears too much. But some people have an Aunt Sally. So any suggestions for a replacement? I'm dipping back in. Woo, going back in. I would love that. A name that somebody wouldn't have. Don't want to inadvertently insult anyone. So we've got a lot on there. Let's do a little highlight. I'm grabbing number 4 Refer brush here, and I'm avoiding using the Orgasm shade because we all know what that looks like, right? So let's go into Naples, which is this kind of rose gold color right here. And let's pull off the little stray little bristle. And let's go right here. And let's highlight. And let's highlight down the nose and over. What do you think? Definitely kind of a glistening summer palette. Heavy on the cheeks, not too heavy on the eyes. Let me put on some mascara because that's definitely needed, let me tell you. And then let's talk about our thoughts. Stay right there. Okay, we're back. I feel like it's a really pretty pulled together summer look. I added in just a little bit of a kind of a light brown eyeliner to tight line and in the waterline. Actually, it's Pat McGrath's shade called Shade. And just some mascara, Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk Push-Up Mascara. And I just think it's a really pretty pulled together look. My main feeling is forgive NARS for naming something else Orgasm. I get it, it's a lot, I get it. But I really think it's because of marketing and brand identification. We know the shade range because of it, as I said earlier, etc., etc. I say forgive them. I think it's a really useful, really pretty face palette, one of many that NARS is so good at making, and I think it's a really fun addition for the summer. But those are my thoughts. Now you tell me yours. Tell me what you think of for your particular complexion tone shade. What do you think it'll work for you? What are your thoughts in general? I just want to hear what you guys have to say. I love that. You know that. So leave your comments below and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope you did. If you haven't already done so, I hope that you subscribe to my channel, and that way I can see all of you in the next video. Bye-bye.